Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new video, and this time is just I want to have a chat about the army composition in 40k, and also how this is also been translated recently in Age of Sigmar, and how these have changed over the years, and see what is the new trend, because this is really what is driving the collection at the end of your army. So how you do the army composition and what is the new things. So if we look at a little bit historically, the army composition at the second edition, that was by percentage, very similar to Warhammer 8th edition. We had percentages for characters, for troops, there were different sections, and you had percentages there that you have to fulfill. And you had a minimum percentage, I think, was on troops. This was on second edition. This was a radical change when it was moved to third edition, where we have for the first time the blocks that we have today, that were HQs, elites, troops, fast attack, and heavy support. And was when we start with the really quite strong composition that was 2 HQs, 3 of each, except on troops that we have a space for 6 and minimum of 2. So we start from this very rigid composition. Then we move to 4th, 5th edition, where the composition was still quite rigid. But in 5th we start seeing formations on Apocalypse games, where you can put different units, and we also appear for Apocalypse, where you can take anything what you want from your collection and put it on the table. But to be fair, this didn't impact to the 40k players, because most of the people didn't play Apocalypse in the regular games. And this was mainly for Apocalypse games. So formations really didn't play any role. And during all this period, one of the things that I was missing was the ability to make fluff armies. The point is, the composition was so rigid that it was difficult to sometimes was a little bit challenging to personalize your army. If you don't want, for example, in my Imperial Guard, if I didn't want to use tanks, I was quite limited, because then I almost cannot use heavy support. So, and then you feel very fast. You can feel very fast some of the choices, like fast attack, and then you are limited. And they had also this period for me was a big miss, that the organization chat was not evolving depending on the points. So I was thinking, why you have to use the same organization chat for a game of 1,500 points or a game of 3,000 points? And when you, depending what armies at 3,000 points, was quite challenging, because you already can feel all the different boxes, all different options at 2,000 points with some armies in the past. But then we moved to 6th edition, and in 6th edition we saw another trend. First, the ability to be able to take allies. And this was a big change, and I think was quite accepted at the end by the community, and it drove quite some interesting changes. But then, for me, the big change that was exploding on 7th edition is the formations. We start seeing formations at the end of the 6th edition, but then in 7 this explodes. And in all the different codexes, we have formations. And I think this is a new trend, and this is a new way to organize armies. And why I like this so much? I like this so much because it allows you to make fluff armies. It gives a lot of freedom and give much more variety than what we used to have in the past. Let me put examples. For example, in the past, the organization for Space Marines was one rigid. You have to take your troops, Space Marines. In the past, Space Marines were scouts, not much options. Even in Chaos Space Marines, if you didn't take any cult, was only Chaos Space Marines. And in some other armies, we only had one choice for troops, or 2 if you are lucky. And everybody was starting with the same point. Now with formations, you have the ability to really personalize your army, and I really like this point. I'm not a big fan of the unbound completely, but so far, with all the formations, you can almost be unbound. So the benefits of being unbound, I think it's eliminated by the huge benefits that you can have by using formations. And then we have very flat formations with quite strong rules, like the Decurion in the Necrons, and all the similar in Eldars. And we expect that all the armies will start ending at the same. We have seen recently the one for Imperial Guard. They call it Kedian, but I think you can use it for any Imperial Guard that you want at the end. All depends on how you want to fit there. But you don't need even this new detachment. You also can use the formations. And for me this is great. What is the problem of the formations? What I see that this is exploding is, I think the problem is when we go to competitive gaming. If you are fluff gaming and you want to use formations, you know what is just, you doing more by the fluff on what are the units that you like. To be fair, when I do an army, I look what are the units or the miniatures that I like, and I create a fluff around that, and then I try to use formations, and I try to break from one army to another, try to be different, and this is why I like to use the formations, and also the differentiations, the different points on the organization chart, the flexibility that gives. But the problem is when you go to competitive. When you go to competitive gaming, there is when there is an abuse of the rules. And I think competitive gaming, and it's fair, because what you want is to have the most competitive army at the end on the table, using your own miniatures, we tend to abuse of the rules that we have. And it's very easy to abuse of the formations. You look your book, you scan the different books, and especially if they are allowed battle brothers, you scan, this is the strongest formations, I take these two formations. Does it make sense that they go together? I don't care. These are the strongest formations. And I think this is where the game can explode and can go sometimes discouraging and can be sometimes a little bit disappointing, because people, and I understand the rules from you are transforming a rule that have a concept of making your army more related to the fluff, try to reproduce on the battlefield what the armies used to do. Then you change the rules, and then you abuse of the rules to make your army stronger, to use some of the strongest formations out there. And yeah, I understand that the competitive gamers sometimes complain that Games Workshop is putting the rules on the table, but on the other side, I'm very happy that Games Workshop is putting that, because it's giving me the freedom to compose the army as I want. I think the problem is the game that Games Workshop is thinking about is not designed to be competitive. And it's not designed even for, you have to be careful also with the pickup games. If you find a person that is very competitive taking one of the strongest formations, you can also have a very bad experience in the game, because it's abusing or can make an abusing use of the rules. So yeah, I think formations in 40k have completely changed the landscape of the armies, have completely changed the concept of how we build armies. And the extreme, and where I see the extreme of that, is when we go to Age of Sigmar, where you don't have points. When the army is composed as you want and you need the agreement with your opponent. So this is really the extreme. I don't think 40k will move in the short days to this extreme on Age of Sigmar. I think they will keep the formations. All the formations that used to exist in Apocalypse are moving slowly into the regular games, because the rules are changing. They are not anymore formations only for Apocalypse. The formations are open for any type of games. And I think the formations we see, for example, on Systems of Battle, is one day we have an update on the rules, they will move to regular games and we will have very similar formations, some updates on the rules, and that's all. Because to be fair, if you look now one of these Apocalypse formations, they look like a joke compared to some of the 40k formations we have today. So this is another thing that I want you to study. If you have a group and then one player is using an old army that don't have formations, check these Apocalypse formations. They don't look that broken anymore compared to some formations that we have in our regular games. That's all. So this is what I wanted to share. This is what I think you have to think. A lot of times we look at the codex, we say, oh, this is troops, this is elites, this is heavy support. Why you care about that? The formations, I think, if you use formations, the formations don't care about that. They care only about the names. And I think this is why Games Workshop, little by little, is taking out the importance of this part of what is elite, what is troops, what is HQ. Because at the end, I think the vision is that we use formations instead of using organization charts for our armies. And yeah, and this is, I think I like it, but I can understand that if you are competitive, this makes the game very difficult. You want to limit the number of formations, you want to limit a little bit the freedom. Too much freedom, I understand that too much freedom it's a problem when for tournament organizers and for competitive gaming. And then the extreme, of course, is Age of Sigmar, where the freedom is total and you have to really align with your opponent when you want to play. One thing that is curious, all the tournaments I went up to now in Age of Sigmar, the formations are forbidden. You cannot use the formations. They don't want to deal with these special rules. It's not happening that so far on 40k, because if you limit the formations, you are eliminating, I think today, more than 50% of the game. And that's all what I want to talk. Please let me know what do you think about the formations. Good, bad for 40k? You like it? Don't like it? You use the formations? You don't use it? Is a money grab, because it's the whole point. A lot of people think it's a money grab. But you are not obliged to use the formations. It's not a money grab, it's a way to make your fluff army. Are you taking profit of the formations by fluff, or you are abusing of the formations, or you using the formations to take advantage on the competitive part? So please leave your comment below. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye!